What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be going through our first look at Season 1 for Black Ops 7. Definitely stay tuned. Now, I'm aware I'm uploading this video a couple of weeks before the initial launch of BO7, which is on November the 14th, but truth be told, thanks to COD Next and several other info dumps that we've gotten over the last couple of months, we actually already learned quite a bit about the upcoming DLC that is going to end up dropping in early to mid-December, and based on the interview that Charlie Intel actually conducted with Treyarch a few weeks back, it's already been confirmed that Season 1 is bound to be what they consider the largest content drop to date. And what I'd assume is that they're trying to outdo how much content they actually released in Season 1 for Black Ops 6 and Season 1 for their Call of Duty before that, which was Black Ops Cold War. Now, historically, Season 1 has always been one of the biggest content drops, if not the biggest content drop of a new Call of Duty entry, considering the Warzone integration and what is arguably a bunch of extra leftover content that could have probably released at launch, but they ended up saving for the big seasonal drop about 3 to 4 weeks after the game comes out. Now, in that interview I mentioned, Treyarch also confirmed that you're not going to be able to do the math with how much content is getting added within Season 1 when comparing the content to what you've seen with previous content drops. I feel like that was probably a reference to the fact that Season 3 of Modern Warfare 3 arguably set the gold standard for how to do live service multiplayer going forward. That season offered 6 different 6v6 maps, let alone all the other events, weapons, updates to Warzone, and of course, the little that got added into zombies. But when taking a look at the full release of BO7, which is in mid-November, and when thinking about when previous Season 1s have actually come out, we should be seeing Season 1 around 3 to 4 weeks after the full launch of the game. So, based on the schedule we saw with BO6, Season 1 will probably end up dropping on around December the 4th, if not the latest, December 11th. That means a number of different things, right? That gives you about 3 weeks-ish, maybe a little bit more, to actually get familiar with the game, beat the campaign, level up your weapons in multiplayer, grind a bunch of zombies, before Season 1 ends up coming out and integrating with the Warzone experience. So that would indicate that Season 1 Reloaded wouldn't be until devs get back from the holidays, which I'm totally cool with. Last year was a bit different since BO6 came out in October, we saw Season 1 in November, and Reloaded came out in very early December, right before devs left. We were lucky that when January came around, as devs got back into the office, they had a big Squid Game event that ended up dropping to kind of keep us busy until 115 Day, which offered some marketing for Season 2, which began at the end of January. So what I'm thinking is that we're back to one of the older seasonal schedules where Season 2 is probably going to start closer to Valentine's Day, but who knows, could even be sooner than that if they really are ahead of schedule. But I think marketing could be a little bit different for Season 1 this time around, considering they usually reveal a roadmap about 7 days before the actual content drops. We'll see how that lines up with Thanksgiving, if that actually interferes, because if so, they'll probably end up revealing the season right before it's about to drop, like we just saw with The Haunting, or they'll market it a little bit earlier than usual. Now, as expected, we're going to end up having a lead operator that's probably the full focus of the post-launch story in Season 1. If they end up doing a post-launch story again, we'll end up just frontlining the Season 1 Battle Pass. We'll end up getting a Blackcell offering, which we already know a little bit about, considering the Vault Edition of BO7 is going to offer Season 1's Blackcell, as it did for the 3 recent Call of Duty entries. So, again, if you buy the Vault Edition later on in the year, it'll still give you a Blackcell pass, but for whatever season is currently ongoing. But I did mention the post-launch story, and that's because I actually wanted to start with bringing up Endgame real quick. This is going to be the 32-player open-world extraction-like experience that you're going to end up unlocking after beating the initial campaign, which offers 11 linear missions. These 11 missions could be completed with your friends, but once you unlock Endgame, you're going to be in an endless server with a bunch of other squads as you tackle Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4 zones, which contain a bunch of different enemy types, objectives, Easter egg quests, and things that will have to work together as a big team to go ahead and figure out, which you're going to want some upgraded operators for, which you're also going to be working towards as you complete campaign levels and as you play Endgame continuously. But it was confirmed already in a recent interview that Treyarch has plans for Endgame post-launch support until at least Season 3. I'm assuming based on popularity of the mode, that will determine if they keep updating it. It'll be taking place on the entirety of Avalon, and yes, this will also be the mode where you're going to want to grind some campaign camos. But I'd expect that post-launch support for Endgame will include different bosses, objectives, POI changes, or updates similar to what we saw with an Outbreak and Modern Warfare Zombies as of the last couple of years. Now, this will likely be the mode where the post-launch story is probably told through, but I guess we'll figure that out in the next couple of months. With that, jumping into Warzone, we did learn about 2 new points of interest that are going to be added to Verdansk with Season 1. Sadly, as of now, it doesn't look like the wall running mechanic from multiplayer, zombies, or campaign is going to make its way into Warzone just yet. It probably will later in the year if I had to guess, but Verdansk isn't getting that crazy of an update with the Season 1 drop. I mean, I would hope that we end up getting a full makeover to the map in the future, although I highly doubt it. They already confirmed that we're going to be getting what looks like a refresh of Rebirth in spring 2026, on top of POI updates for Verdansk. So we might end up getting a futuristic Rebirth, just not in Season 1, but as we'll get to in a second, we are getting a new Resurgence map. When I was over at COD Next, I got to preview the 2 new POIs that you could see circled here on screen with the brand new tech map, one of which is returning from Verdansk 84. So the Signal Station does contain a new version of Summit, which is a classic map from Black Ops. Again, we saw this during the Cold War iteration of Verdansk. Pretty cool POI towards the very back of the map, and they're also going to be looking at what is called the Factory. It seems to be run by the Guild, but kind of reminds me of a building we saw back in Caldera, although it might not be related. But I got to walk through both of these POIs during the section of Verdansk, which I know was everybody's favorite during the COD Next stream. But I get it, the Season 1 Warzone update should have had a big BR map. I mean, they should have just released the Blackout experience on Avalon for Season 1. That would have felt real fresh for the Black Ops 7 integration, since new POIs or a new Resurgence map don't quite speak new game integration to a lot of people and kind of feel like a mid-seasonal update. But you guys have been seeing gameplay of Haven's Hollow, the brand new Resurgence map, which expands Liberty Falls from BO6 zombies. In this map, there'll be 9 different points of interest, while the entire map itself is slightly bigger than Rebirth, but it is going to be smaller than Fortune's Keep. You do have full access to the town of Liberty Falls from the launch BO6 Zombies map. You can walk through the mansion from Shattered Vale, but unfortunately, none of the areas underground, nor are the towers from the Reckoning actually accessible in this map. The map is gorgeous though. If you want to see a raw gameplay and kind of a walkthrough commentary, I posted that on the second channel, which I'm going to leave linked down below. But let's just hope this map actually survives and doesn't get vaulted after about 2 seasons like Area 99 did. When it comes to zombies though, Kevin Drew already confirmed on the recent COD pod that we're going to be seeing 3 different zombies maps during the first season. It's unclear if all these maps will be available right off rip in December, or will some of these maps get saved for Season 1 Reloaded at some point in January. He first mentioned DLC 1 with the hint saying that it's very metal. Could be a reference to maybe a space station map that has already been leaked out prior. That's a crazy idea for a first DLC map, so let's see if this map could end up topping the Horizon Drac or something. But he also mentioned 2 other survival maps. I'm assuming one of them is at least going to be ripped from Ashes of the Damned, whether it's the launch site, whether it's maybe the diner, Exit 115. We'll see if one of the maps is from one of those POIs, or is it a POI that we already got to see with the early Ashes of the Damned gameplay. I'd also expect at least one survival map to get pulled from DLC 1, but again, as of now, it's a little bit unclear. If you want a full in-depth zombies video talking about every future round-based map that already got leaked out, I'll leave that video linked down below as well. Just recently, some new leaks did surface suggesting that Widow's Wine and Mule Kick are 100% returning at some point in the BO7 zombie lifecycle, so expect those perks to get added in with brand new augments and probably a bunch of other surprise abilities. On top of that, we'll be seeing direct and mode support for Ashes of the Damned, which could even be before Season 1 for all we know, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. And we're also going to be getting post-launch support for Dead Ops Arcade 4, as Treyarch previously teased. But something I did a bit differently this time is end the video with talking about multiplayer. We actually know the most about multiplayer DLC, at least for the first season, unless some of these maps I'm about to mention are actually for future seasons. But let's just address Nuketown 2025 real quick. This actually isn't a Season 1 map. Instead, it's going to be a preseason update that we're likely going to see a good 2 weeks after the launch of the game. So probably around Thanksgiving time, if not a pinch after that. I'll keep you guys in the loop. But DLC maps that have already been confirmed by Treyarch themselves include Vertigo, which I actually managed to have a helping hand in revealing when I cameoed on the COD pod. That was absolutely insane. That's a DLC map from BO2. We then have Gridlock, a launch map from Black Ops 4, which can actually be seen in a background image in one of the recent blog posts. And then we have Yemen and Meltdown, which were actually pretty popular maps during comp in the Black Ops 2 CWL scene. So those are going to be coming back likely in the first season, but again, it's always possible that even though they're confirmed, they might be saved for a later date. Speaking of competitive, it was confirmed that rank play support for both multiplayer and Warzone won't be seen until at least Season 2, so I'm betting since that's the case, we'll end up seeing Season 2 either at the end of January or early February at the latest, just to kind of kick things off for folks out there that love the competitive scene. It was also mentioned in a recent interview that we're going to be seeing more 20v20 skirmish maps in BO7 if the reception around the mode is positive. So I guess we'll see how folks respond to the 2 skirmish maps we're going to be getting on launch November the 14th. And then from there, we may end up seeing bigger maps like that added in the future. Hopefully the return of Fireteam or something like that, since right now I don't think skirmish quite plays like how Fireteam did. And then to also round things out, we do know that weekly challenges are being added for campaign, multiplayer, Warzone, and zombies beginning with Season 1, and they've already teased the ballistic knife, which could be a DLC weapon that we see in the very first season on top of that. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. I'll of course make a follow-up video to this one once we learn more information about the first season, which I'm sure we're going to figure out pretty quick once the game actually comes out. But for now, this was our first look at just about everything we know to date about what could be dropping in early December. With that being said, really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.